We called today's sermon, Only God Can Make a Tree. And the reason that I chose Only God Can Make a Tree is every day when I move into my office, people know that I do prayer time every morning for an hour. I get up in the morning and I go and I do worship, or I do a prayer time. And part of what I have in my office is an embroidered picture, needlepoint, that a person from my last congregation made for me, and it says, Only God Can Make a Tree. It helps to keep me grounded, and it helps to keep me focused and to realize how small I am. When you look at this church outside and you see this tree with its branch overarching this building, we know that we are all in here and we're not as big as that tree. We are all in here, but each one of us is unique as that tree. Only God can make that tree. You know, there was this, things got a, and there's a truth in that. Each one of us is uniquely connected to God. And it doesn't necessarily look the same for each one of us. Because I know you might not have noticed, but we don't all look the same. We don't all act the same. We don't walk or talk the same. Some of us are more colored or colored. Some of us are less. Some of us have got just this amazing grin on our faces all the time. And some of us live a little bit more subdued. Some of us have lots of flailing energy, and some not so much. Okay, some have flailing energy, some are a little more contained, but all of it makes no difference, because each one of us is created a little bit in God's image. Each one of us has within us a little bit of that God energy, the mystery, the divinity of God, which makes each one of you divine. You are divine, lovely and divine. You are filled with that divine energy. You are filled with whatever it is that calls you to God. You are filled with whatever it is that you find in God, that divinity, that mystery, that life, that delight, that hope, that joy. You find that inside of yourselves, that connection to God. So there are times when we feel really alone. Have you ever felt really alone? Not a rhetorical question. Have you ever felt really alone?
Yes.
Okay, me too. And you know, the one thing that always brings me back, always brings me hope, and always brings me home is that knowledge that God is within me. And that makes me connected to every other living thing on this planet. And that I can never be totally alone. I can never be totally alone.
Amen.
I am always with God. Always. Well, there's some joy in that. That God is always within us. And that we are connected to each other. We are connected to one another. And yet, how do we treat one another? Not a rhetorical question. Sometimes not so good. It's true. Sometimes we decide who is good and who is bad. And who is right and who is wrong. And what's the right way to behave, and what's the wrong way to behave. And how many times have you heard people say, well, they shouldn't act like that. That wasn't good. Did you hear what so-and-so said? Yeah, have you seen what she's done with her hair? Oh my goodness. You know, we do that. We sit in judgment. And instead of looking for the divinity, for that God spark in each other, we look for how we don't have it, or what's wrong with others, so that we can feel puffed up about ourselves. So we can feel better than somebody else. So that we can feel all tree-like. And yet what that does when we take that step out and we start to look at people and judge people and get all puffed up about ourselves, it makes us very small. Very small. You know, part of what we have to do is we have to take that thought of judgment, that thought of this is the way this person should be in this little box. We have to take it and instead open up all the sides of the box and say, I want to find God in you. And trust me, I know it's not easy to always find God in people. Sometimes it's a real struggle to find that tree. Sometimes it's a real struggle to find God. And that has as much to do with us as it does to do with the people that we are judging. Now you might think, oh yes, but there's this person. My goodness me, just the bane of my existence. Ever had a bane of my existence person? Have you? I bet. I bet everybody has at some point or another had somebody that has ridden them, or just, you know, as soon as you see them walking across the yard, you go, oh no. Oh, and your little heart sinks, or you get all up in, well, I'll show them.
Those are exes.
Exes? Well, some of us have a few more of those than others. So part of it is, what do we do with all that? You know, how can we stop that? What are the kinds of things that we can put in place to let that go? First, when you see that person walking across the yard, how do you feel? And you don't feel good, do you? Does it help any to feel all angry or upset? No. Does that turmoil help? And do you think that when they come in and they see that you're in turmoil, that they're going to gloat? So you're giving them more power. Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Dear me. Do you see the error of your ways? You know, part of it is that we are always going to have people that are difficult. And likely because it's something inside of us that we're struggling with. Likely because we know that we too could be there. We know that we have the potential within us to be mean and nasty, or we have the potential within us to be something we don't like, or there's something within us we don't like and we're afraid that they're going to see it. We don't want them to see that part of us that's ugly and petty. You know, there's a little pettiness in us. Some of us have a little bit more than others, maybe. Or some of us have more of something else than others. You know, we all have something that we're struggling with that we don't like about ourselves. We all have a point, a place that is vulnerable within us. We all have that place where we hurt and we don't want people to see that. So we hide it, and we want to make sure nobody can see that part of us. And we wrap ourselves up tighter and tighter and tighter so that we're just... Do you ever have anything like that where you just get so tight? You really don't want anybody to know it, and you just hold it really tight? It doesn't change anything. It just makes you scared and feel more alone and feel more afraid that people will find out. And often our fear is the thing that's the biggest. It's our fear. Nobody else would really care. You know, it could be something like, I've got a crooked toe. I really don't, I know this is mine. And I don't really have a crooked toe, but I'm going to use it as an example nonetheless. I have a crooked toe, and I don't want people to know I have a crooked toe, because if they see that I have a crooked toe, they will think less of me because of my crooked toe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure nobody ever sees my crooked toe, ever touches my feet, ever even knows I have feet. I am going to wear something that covers up my feet all the time. I'm going to have the best shoes that you have ever seen, so people will look at my shoes but not know that there's hideousness underneath those shoes. I know it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? And yet people do it. About little things. We take it. Each one of us takes something about ourselves we don't like, or something we have done in our past that we don't like, or something we think we could do and we don't like, and we hide it. Imagining it would just change everything if they only knew. If they only knew I'm not really as smart as I think I am. If they only knew that I really can't do somersaults. If they only knew. Do you have an if they only knew voice in your head? That if they only knew voice, that's not God. You don't need it. I think we should all say goodbye to that if they only knew voice. Because within each one of us, remember, what are we? We're divine. We have that bit of God within us that can get rid of all of that negativity. If you've got God right here, you don't need if they only knew. You don't need to hold on to if they only knew, because it just works at you. It works at you, and it makes you feel less than. It makes you feel less than. So you got to find that little bit of God within you. Can you find that little bit of God within you? Do you have trouble finding God within you? Sometimes? So what can we do to find God within us? Have you ever laid on your back and looked at the night sky? Have you ever been out on a boat and seen only water and sun? Have you ever seen snow for as far as the eye can see, and you see so far that you see the world is turning?
Yes.
God. It's so amazingly easy to find God out there. Now just start to make it smaller. And just bring it closer. And bring your arms closer. And bring it all in. And just pull that feeling that you get when you lie on your back and look at the stars, or you're in a boat. Pull it in. Make a memory. A snapshot memory, and pull it in. God. That God spot. That great mystery. That divinity. Pull it in. And whenever you find yourself feeling small or alone, or feeling that voice, that if they only knew voice, pull that treasure out. Pull that sense of lying on your back, of being in a boat, of seeing snow so far that the edge of the world turns. Pull it out. Wrap yourself in it. Allow it to become your voice for you until you can find the strength and that divinity within you. Allow God to work in you from that place. From that place. The place where you feel closest to God. Pull that out. And let that if they only knew stuff go. Only God knows how fabulous we are. Only God created us. Only God created a tree.